And boom, here we are. How are we getting on, lads? Today we're joined by Stitch Duran, a sound lad we've had on before. Thanks again for getting on again.
Hey, nice to be back, man. And I understand you guys are doing real good. So you kind of moving on up. So that's
But
that's how champions are made.
that's a funny way to put it. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, actually, genuinely, when we had you on last, we kind of plastered your name everywhere. We'd said like we're trying to convince someone to get on. We've had blank, blank, and Stitch Duran was always there.
good.
So
Yeah, anytime, man.
you got
Yeah,
us a fair few.
good, good. Okay, just throw my name out as much as you can because it works. And I know Thomas, we were talking about some of the guys you've had on, and I've had some kind of relationship with every one of them. Stories with every one of them. So yeah, by all means, man. Listen, we're here to grow, man. It's a fun sport, and there's a whole lot of room for everybody. I always told people, I said, look, I'm going to the top, and I'm taking a bus. If you want to get on the bus, let's go. So same to you. If you want to get on the bus, by all means.
I'll be
Even
getting
my kids throw my name out. You know, I got I got a call. I got a call from a friend of mine last night that said, "Hey man, do you know so and so?" And I said, "Well, faces are better than names." He goes, "Well, he was Don King's attorney. I'm having a drink with his nephew." So right off the bat, my name was thrown out there. So but in this sense, of course, man, anytime I could help.
I really appreciate it. But yeah, your name's kind of everywhere. Like obviously there's the old meme of Dana White. That's a whole other story. But even just when you look at like boxing movies or so on, you snake your way in. Kevin James and the boys, you snuck your way in. And what was it? What was it? Big fight we seen in recently. Were you at one of the Jake Paul fights recently or Logan Paul ones?
Yeah, I've done pretty much all of them, except for I didn't do the Holyfield, the last one, but the early I did KSI and uh, I did, yeah, I've done them all. Jake Paul when he fought Ben Askren, I was on that card. So
That
did Manny Pacquiao when I worked with Dennis Lugas when he beat Manny Pacquiao, and of course this coming week Tyson Fury. So life's been good.
dude, that's gonna be a crazy one.
They're always crazy with Tyson Fury,
Oh yeah.
and it's the fight is one thing, but just the things that go on behind the scenes are the fun part,
Yeah,
And
man. There's a lot of trash talk. It seems a bit leveled out this time because of that week. It was a pretty odd press conference they had. Deontay Wilder not speaking at all. Tyson Fury speaking on behalf of him.
yeah, yeah. You gotta love Tyson, man. And I've worked with so many fighters, but he's just fun to be with as a person, right? And fighting skills, of course, they're up at the A level, but just just a fun guy.
I mean, in a way, that's more important.
Well, yeah, for what I do, because I think I was telling Thomas, wrapping a hand is wrapping a hand, and working a cut's working a cut, right?
Yeah.
So those and being that I've done hundreds of world title fights, it's not about the fights no more. It's about the characters of the people that I'm working with, and not only the main fighter, but the team and all that. Uh, there's guys I've turned down because it just didn't have that karma, right? And so, but with Tyson Fury and their team, yeah, I'm in. So,
When it comes to fighters, do you think that their personality is as important as the record, or even more so?
100%. Yeah, 100%. It's all marketing 101. Even what you do, throwing my name out, that's marketing 101. But yeah, having a personality and then being able to back it up. And, like me, I created a brand through personality. Performance, yes, is one thing. You always have to perform. That's key, number one. But to look at all these different angles of how you could build your name and credibility, that's extremely important.
Yeah, because I've seen some fighters, especially in MMA, they don't have great records, but by God, can they talk, and does it work?
Conor
Um,
McGregor's a master, bro. You know,
that's a touchy subject with me. Don't go there.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, man. It's the fact. Chael Sonnen, they're
Yes.
masters at marketing. The new generation of UFC fighters, for the most part, I don't watch the fight, so I don't know their personalities. But in the heydays when I was there, yeah, that's what sold tickets.
Yeah, man. I mean, even the I think it's the night of the Canelo Plant fight. It's like one of the biggest UFC cards as well. It's 268, and it's like Kamaru Usman versus one of the biggest trash talkers in the sport, and just shows you what it does for both the guys, man. Talking talks, talking sells.
Yeah,
It does a
yeah.
bit.
But you got to back it up. There's nothing worse than talking a bunch of mess and then getting knocked out.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about
Yeah.
being embarrassed, right? So
What would be some famous examples of that now? I've seen a couple of them. Probably Masvidal versus Usman too.
I mean,
yeah,
boxing.
I haven't followed those, man. I can't. I be honest with you, I can't tell you. And I don't get into all that anyway. To me, I've seen them all, done them all, and
Yeah.
like press conferences. If I go, I'll go to just say hi to you. Just kind of shoot the shit with the guys. But the press conferences are the same. The weigh-ins are the same. And the press conference after the fight, they're all the same. And I don't put too much attention to it. So
Now, you were saying the guys are often like playing characters or whatever when they're up on stage. Do you think, or have you seen that when the camera's off, that they change completely?
yeah. I'm telling you, like Chael Sonnen, perfect example. Perfect. Man, he's as good as you're gonna get for selling Chael Sonnen, right? But once that off, you sitting in the van going to the hotel or wherever, and just like you and I, man. But he knows when to turn it on and when to turn it off and how to do it. And Maxwell, same. I'm not gonna throw out that other guy for some reason. Conor McGregor, yeah, but he's good. He's good at what he does.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury is good at what he does. And the thing with him is he can back it up. And sometimes a lot of the quotes that he comes out with kind of surprised me. I said, wow, it's pretty impressive.
He
Yeah.
obviously has his fight next week. Have you been spending much time with him already? Do you know how he's feeling? Or
Tyson Fury?
yeah,
No, he's feeling great. I've been gone, when he was supposed to fight and the fight got canceled. Well, my son had moved to Michigan and we already had planned a week vacation for this week that just passed. I just got back from Michigan, what's the day? Thursday. And so I missed him, but I saw him before the camp. And like I say, I show up, my thing is when I show up for the fights, but just to keep that relationship. And then throughout this week, I'll be with him. But yeah, the thing about it, in the last time that he trained, I was impressed because even though he's shadow boxing and or jumping the rope, and he's talking to us and just kind of joking around, but he's working for those 3 minutes. And that I gotta, I look at things like that because I work with so many fighters and there's no shortcuts in what Tyson Fury does. There's not. So a lot of respect.
one of the excuses that Wilder kept throwing out during their second fight was the gloves weren't right on Fury's hands. When you hear that, man, do you take insult to that, or do you just kind of pass it off?
Let me talk. I got a couple guys working on my towel. Give me just a second. Let me just let them know I'm here.
Of course.
I didn't catch that.
I think he's just going off for a minute.
Fair enough. Man, I don't know what to say there. I might pause it and we'll come back when he's back.
Yeah,
All right,
I have I had a couple guys that are putting tile in my bathroom, right? But they went out to lunch and I closed the door now, so they're the only. I want to let them know I'm here. So anyway, but yeah, let's talk about that. So yeah, I'm not good with ignorance, in this game. And when that was thrown out, because I've done interviews, I had guys, friends call me and said, Stitch, this guy doesn't believe, he thinks this and that. Can you talk to him? So the reality of the game is everything that they said was completely wrong. There's the process with all these states and commissions is there's always an inspector there watching your wrap hands, and then there's certain rules on what you could do to wrap hands. The tape has to be 1 inch away from the knuckles, going down, so and so. So all that is already established. So when it's time for Tyson Fury to get his hands wrapped, Sugar wraps his hands. Well, they always send a guy from the other corner to inspect, along with the commissioner. And then you got the ABC or the WBC representative. So you have people of authority there. So they wrap their hands and all that, and then we're done. But when it's time to put the gloves on, and the inspectors are still there, then a member comes from the other team. At this time was his manager, and he watches them put the gloves on, and then you'll use the shoelaces, you'll tie them, and then you'll put tape over it. Well, the reality of the game, I don't care how much you're going to try. Once you got that tape on your wrist and your gloves, it's impossible for you to even move your hand out. But if you were to do it, why? You know, the gloves are there to protect one thing, and that's so you don't break your hands. So if you get out of that, that's like you wearing big shoes, you know, that are way, way too big. It's not gonna benefit you. Well, the same thing with that. So all that was a bunch of bull. And you know, for somebody to come out with that kind of theory, it didn't make sense. But I've done interviews regarding that, and because one thing I do, I specialize in, I understand hands. I wrap thousands of hands, so I understand. But you know what, man, we're not in this game to cheat. That's the insult of it. And for you to come in with that theory was totally wrong.
Yeah.
But excuses, it's easier to make excuses when you lose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he made plenty.
Very in denial.
Yeah, you're blaming Mark Breland. And you know, now let me add this. And in the 5th round, I'm working on Tyson with Sugar. Sugar's giving the instructions and all that. And I always look at the other corner to see the mentality, the body language and all that. And I whispered, I said, man, they're going to stop this fight coming up, you know. They're going to stop it, I'm saying. And so I just, because the type of shots that he's taking are the kind of type of shots that give you long-term damage, which is the dementia. And sure enough, they stopped it. But I was walking down the stairs, and the guy from the BBC hit me up, and I told him the same thing. I said, you know, Mark Breland saved him in the long part of his life from possible brain damage. So.
Yeah, it can be dangerous, man. It can be dangerous.
Yeah, it is dangerous. You know, there was a girl that just died, right? A couple of weeks ago, a young girl from Mexico.
Yep.
And I saw, you know, when I saw the video when she was in the corner and she's getting punched and she starts convulsing, and then she ends up dying. Well, then there's also this kid in England that just got knocked out, and he was convulsing. You know, so that lets you know it's a dangerous sport.
Well, yeah, and also, what was it you said earlier? The sport's about what? Not taking damage.
Making money without getting hurt.
There you go. Yeah.
Because not everybody's going to make money in this game. You know, they say 99% of the fighters make 100%, or 99% of the money, or the fighters make excellent. 1% of the fighters make 99% of the money.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, when you break it down without the thousands and thousands of fighters around the world, how many guys are world champs or how many guys are making money? You know, so.
Yeah, and there's probably some talented people out there just that don't have the opportunity to compete in these massive competitions or to get their name out there.
Yeah.
Or you could have an amazing record and then just be as interesting as a wooden plank. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No. And this weekend, obviously, next weekend coming up, the trilogy. I mean, well, I was thinking to myself earlier on, what do you think is different about this one coming up now that was not different to the second one? Do you think something's changed in the momentum of Wilder even?
Yeah, of course. The mental game and, you know, the physicality. Now, keep in mind, both fighters are capable of knocking each other out. That has to be understood, because when I look at events, at fights, I always look at worst case scenario, because it's easy to predict the victory and want the victory, but not everybody gets the victory. Remember, we were talking, Thomas, I work on numbers and percentages. That's how I base everything on that. And probability of someone getting knocked out is high, whether it's one or the other. See, so you look at that, but then you look at the, just what's going to happen. But the mental game, Tyson Fury knows, and Deontay Wilder knows that he got knocked out, you know, and that Tyson Fury could fight. And Tyson Fury has that mentality now that I could go at him offensively and be productive. So, yeah, of course, going into that, you know, into that game, he has the advantage psychologically, but there's always that one shot, bro. You know, I worked with Sergey Lahovich early on in Deontay Wilder's career. He sent him to the hospital, you know. So the man could crack. And in the heavyweights, all it takes is one shot. So, you know, it's important for Tyson Fury to know that, yeah, you know, the probability of you winning the fight is extremely high. But the probability of you getting hit and knocked out, that's a 50-50 percentage. So, you know, watch out for that all the time. And he will.
Yeah, he's got a puncher's chance. So see what happens there.
Good way to put it, yeah.
So you think Tyson's going to win?
Well, yeah, you know, I never predict them, you know, like I say, because they're just predictions, you know. But if you could ask me, or if you ask me the probability of cuts, I think the probability is high, you know, and it could happen on both teams. So that's the way I look at fights. Because, yeah, I'm not good at predicting, but if I say Tyson's going to win, shit, Deontay will win. You know, I play dominoes with my wife, and I say this, and it's the opposite, you know. So, but if you ask me about the probability of getting work, yeah, it's going to be a barn burner. It's going to be a good fight, no doubt about it.
So your predictions are on par with Chael Sonnen. Everything you say, the opposite happens.
Yeah, for me it happens. It happens, you know. So, ask me about another fight. I'll give you a prediction, and then you let me know if I was right or wrong.
So you're going to be there on the night of that fight, aren't you?
Yeah, you know, the MGM and T-Mobile, they're 20 minutes away from my house. So, you know, Top Rank called me the other day and asked if I needed a room. I said, nah, man, I'll go to the fights. After the fights, I go home, you know. And, so.
Well, you don't. Go on, Thomas.
But make sure it's in Vegas. You know, only specify in Vegas events.
Yeah, pretty much that's everywhere. You know, and it's funny because everybody thinks, you know, that the road we're on the road. Let's say like Bruce Buffer. You were talking about Bruce earlier, Thomas. Man, you know, it's like Crow Cop said, and you guys follow MMA. Crow Cop says, and it's true. We go from the airport to the hotel, from the hotel to the arena back to the hotel back to the airport. And if we do anything, it's like a 6-block radius. So it's not like it's, you know, we're doing all this and doing all that. You know, especially if you do it all the time because it's a business, and you got to conduct it as a business. You know, I don't drink. I can drink. I don't drink a lot, but I can. But I'll go into, you know, after fight parties or something like that with water because everybody wants to buy me a drink, and I got to stay disciplined. And I can't drink because shit, I'd be a drunk. You know, if I drank a beer every time somebody offered me a beer. So, you know, it's a business, and we got to handle it. And then not only that, but I got to show you respect. You can't look at me and say, "Oh man, Stitch was, you know, this and that and this and that." That's not my nature, you know. So try to stay professional as much as possible.
I think with the drink thing, it's an element of holy shit, that's Stitch Duran. Wonder if you'll let me buy him a drink. And then you get to tell the story of I bought Stitch Duran a drink.
Oh yeah, no. Hey, listen. I mean, I've had adventures, right? I went in northern North Dakota. The Native Americans, they invited me to a party that they were having. They had a casino and all that, and they want to buy me beers and all that. And I said, no, man, I don't drink. No, you know, the Native Americans, they're insult. The old story that I hear from everybody. It's an insult if you don't drink and all that. So anyway, I did. I enjoyed myself, and at the end of the night, my nickname was Jacob 8 Bears instead of 8 Bears. So it was Jacob 8 Beers, you know. And then in Kazakhstan, I was in Kazakhstan, and the guy invited me to a restaurant after the weigh-ins, and I mean, yeah, you know, we'll go. And so go there, and he says, you know, Stitch, we Kazakhs, we drink vodka. You Mexican, you drink tequila. We drink tonight, huh? Well, that was a challenge, right? So anyway, 3 bottles later of vodka, Stitch, no more. I outdrank him, bro, but when I got to my room, I threw up like a pig. Next day, I'm like this at the weigh-ins, you know? So,
dude.
Yeah, but that was a challenge. That's the only reason I did it. But normally I would, yeah. But there was like 6 of us drinking. And, but, yeah.
Dude, that's mental.
It was mental.
3 bottles.
Yeah. Steve, she said, they call me every once in a while. They're still, you know, because they own a restaurant. Steve, you Mexican. We #1 and all that. And, yeah, it was just Steve, We Kazakhs, we drink vodka. You Mexican, you drink tequila. We drink. All right, let's get it on, man. You know,
That's a challenge, man.
it was
I
a
mean,
challenge.
wouldn't be fair if we challenged over here. We'd be sitting here having Guinness and you're sitting there having tequila. It wouldn't be a
Yeah.
fair game.
Nah, no.
Yeah. So is that tequila? Is that your go-to?
No, but it was a challenge. You know? I don't drink hard liquor, bro. You know, it's just not my. If I drink
Well,
it,
you do in Kazakhstan.
well, I did in Kazakh because they challenged me. That was it, but I paid for it. I won, but when I got to my hotel, I paid for it, and but I won.
Fair enough. So
That's
I suppose,
crazy, man.
yeah. Just to finish on the topic of drink, what is your go-to then?
Just beer, just regular beer. You know, Corona. You're talking about Guinness. Yeah, I'll drink a Guinness here and there, but it's a little too heavy for me.
Yeah.
But the taste, I like the taste. That's why I drink it. But not me.
What's the thing you tell me the whole time again, Stern? That the one we have here is completely different to the one manufactured for America.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's like
my daughters went to Dublin, I think, and they tested Guinness up there, and it's tasted.
yeah. What I've been told is if you want to buy from Ireland, it's kind of like a premium thing. I got told this in a bar in Greece, that they paid like extra to get it from Ireland because the alternative is to get one from South Africa, and like it's mass produced in South Africa, and then that's a cheaper one that gets sent everywhere else. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but it's
So-
just in the name, then people are buying it.
dude, it doesn't make a difference. But there's some people they'll only have it in the right glass at the right time of day when the moon and the sun and the stars are in the right position. They're that specific with their Guinness. So,
I gotta make sure I make it a point to go up there.
dude, you best give it a go. Yeah.
Crazy. You said earlier you were at that Jake Paul Ben Askren event, which is completely different to other boxing events that you would attend. First of all, do you think it's good for the sport that stuff kind of goes on in the background of it?
Well, you know, let me go back to the first one that I worked with, KSI, when he fought Logan Paul, right? And number one, I didn't know who KSI was. I got a call from Amir Abdullah that was representing him in the States, and that he was going to train here for 6 weeks and so. And they economically, they made me a pretty good offer. So I worked it, and I thought about it, and I said, well, does it make sense? You know, Logan, I didn't know these YouTubers, like 20 million followers each, right? And to me, it just blew my mind. I still couldn't comprehend, but I'm thinking for the zone, on a marketing aspect, it made so much sense because they work on subscription, right? And for them to have got these additional 40 million faces, if 1% of those watch the fight, then they did pretty good. You see what I'm saying? So on the business aspect, yeah, it made a whole lot of sense. And I think, Thomas, you were saying you didn't know that these were exhibitions, but they're exhibitions, you know, because they're not qualified to be professional boxers at the professional boxing level. And but the entertainment now, as you go forward, then some I haven't been too pleased with, you know, the Holyfield Vitor fight, you know, just to see the end results of these guys that are legends, Tito Ortiz, you know, flat on his face, you know, to see these legends, it's really heartbreaking, you know, knowing that I was with them at the prime of their careers, right? I got to see the best of them. And so in that aspect, yeah, you know, it's questionable. I know there's a lot of fighters that are complaining that why are these guys making all this money and we're still getting paid peanuts? Well, unfortunately, that's one of the things of social media.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to Evander Holyfield versus your man, I thought that was like the disgusting to see. Like when I seen like Roy Jones and Mike Tyson fight, like that's cool. They're about the same age, blah blah blah. They can handle it, but Evander Holyfield was like a fair way his elder, and I don't know, it's just something so weird about seeing like a young lad or younger lad just demolish an older guy like that, especially when it's Evander Holyfield, like a legend like him.
Yeah. And Thomas and I were talking about it, and you're right, man, because there's an adage, a saying in boxing that you could beat anything, but you can't beat time. and time will have its effect on you getting hurt. So I was telling Thomas, Vitor didn't know that this was an exhibition. He went out as being a full fight, but he's fighting a guy whose age has taken advantage of him already when it comes to combat sports. And Vitor cracks; he could hit as hard as anybody, and he was in tip-top shape. So that was really a big mismatch. And Tito Ortiz, to see his techniques was sad because he comes from an MMA background and he came into a boxing world. And I've done both, and I'm heavy in boxing. His techniques look horrible. So whoever showed him how to box showed him everything wrong. And with that, he got hit. So, I worked with Frank Mir when he fought Steve Cunningham. That was a nice chat. I could have given it to Frank Mir, but nonetheless, it was an easy, even fight. But yeah, if they're going to go forward, they're going to have to create better matches. And I think Thomas was talking about Muhammad Ali's grandson, Nico. If he was smart, get 2 or 3 more pro fights, because I saw him as his last fight, and then fight a Jake Paul or Logan Paul. Okay, that would make more sense.
Thomas, he said he was open to that when we talked to him.
He said he was very open to that, yeah.
Yeah. I think he's an amazing young lad. I say young lad, but he's a year older than us. I reckon he's going to go and do... Huh?
Who are you talking about?
Nico.
Oh, yeah.
I reckon he's going to go on and do some crazy shit.
Well, but once again, you got to back it up. He has a tough name to follow, but it's an easy one to follow because of his personality. But people know that people like us, we know he has a tough road. So wherever it takes him, we're all for it. Applaud him. For him to become a world champ, you're looking at 4 years from now. But if you can maximize what you do now, it's a make money without getting hurt. He's in a perfect situation to do that.
Yeah. I think 4 years would be way too soon for him to try it. That guy's 21. He has a lot of learning to do. He's a lot of time on his side. Sure. To be as good as he is for his age as well is incredible. I seen his debut fight. He smoked the guy. Yeah, all respect to that guy though, but
yeah, and I mean I was there, like saying, and I had met Nico before, and so I was there deep with that. But the other guy was horrible. He was picked for Nico to win a solid fight, and you got to look at those things. We look at things like that, okay, skill wise, he had nice techniques and all that, but how's that going to take you? How far would that take you? And that's what I'm saying. The Logan Pauls, the Jake Pauls, those type of fights for him would be perfect right
now. Absolutely. That's something Logan Paul probably aim for, or is Nico too light?
I don't know he might be too small for both of them.
I think he's a middleweight now in boxing, but I'm not sure what that equates to weight-wise. And I know that the two Paul brothers near heavyweight cruiserweights whenever they make weight. So who knows, man? One of them, I know Jake wants to fight Canelo at some point, and he's much smaller than Jake. And this week Canelo said, "Hey, I want to fight the guy. Give him 3 years."
Imagine he lost.
Jake Paul.
That would be awful to see.
What you say earlier was a fighter's chance, punching's chance.
A puncher's chance, yeah. Everyone has it.
Yeah, but that would be the fight that would really irritate fighters. Because why would a guy like Jake Paul, who hasn't earned his stripes, go and fight somebody like Canelo? It's never going to happen. But if it did, then I could see the excuse for these guys being mad at that situation. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't think Canelo will get into that platform anyway. You don't need it.
The guy's doing pretty well for himself, I hear. No.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Seriously. You mentioned earlier, you said something about some of the fighters being paid very well. It's been very controversial recently, Jake coming out and talking against Dana. And, I've heard you've had somewhat of a pass with Dana. What's your opinion on the whole fighter pay, man? Like, it's constantly being talked about. Fighters aren't happy. Some are happy, but what do you think?
Yeah, well, it's that 1%, right, in the UFC that are happy making the money that they make. But I tell you what, man, this is a tough sport, bro. But you know, the UFC wants to be like all the other major organizations of sports: football, baseball, soccer, football. They all want to do the same thing. Well, if they want to do the same thing, then you know these sports, baseball, football, and all that, they pay. It's like a 49-51 split, 50-50 split with the teams and the players. I think the UFC from last time I was like 18%. So yeah, you know, should they get paid? Yeah, I think so. You know, one of my friends, one longtime friend, we've been cutting for many years. I saw him recently and his wife, and talking about they're still getting paid. You know, pretty much the same when I left, which was nothing. You know, and I said, well, you know, it's a shame because the ring girls get paid more than the cutmen, and that's a shame because who do you need in a fight? You know, do you need a ring girl? Or do you need a cutman? So, yeah, is there equality? But I understand business also. You know, so the UFC has to do their thing. Their thing is to make money. Bottom line.
Yeah.
You know, and I understand. You know, so is it time for a union? Is it time for an association? You know, somebody to have some kind of leverage. You know, do you go from 18 to maybe 30%? You know, do you give an increase of the gates to the fighters? You know, I don't know. What's your guys' opinion?
Thomas, you had a very good point you told me about.
Which was
There was another promotion that had been talking about Dana, but they were like hypocrites because they paid so much lower than the UFC.
that was what's his name? I can't think of his name. Since you know him, Golden Boy of De La Hoya. De La Hoya ran an MMA production once, or a company once with, it was the Vitor Chuck fight, and Dana came out recently saying that the fighters in total on the card didn't get paid what one of his fighters would get for wearing the Venom shorts or something, which is because De La Hoya is constantly talking out about him, and he's with Triller now, so he just found that funny.
Yeah, Dana just jumping on Oscar big time, right, and all that. But you know, when you break it down, okay, you're talking about Tito when he fought Chuck. Is that the fight you're talking about?
Yeah, the most recent one where they both came back and Tito won the fight.
But you know, when Oscar did his show, keep in mind that was years ago. So you compare how much he was paying his fighters opposed to what the UFC were paying their fighters when Forrest Griffin fought Stephen Bonner on the big first UFC show. So you compare those at that level, and you'll find out where you're at. But the UFC has gone so much higher, and they've created so much more revenue that you know, are the fighters entitled to more? I think so. You know, with me with the UFC, I needed the UFC to make my money, and other fighters make money through sponsorships. So I was making more money through sponsors than I was what the UFC was paying me. But I needed the presence of the face of the UFC for me to work on sponsors. And the same thing with the fighters. And when they took them all out, then that changed everything.
How do sponsors work for you as a cutman? Like, you're not exactly in the ring. So how do sponsors work for you?
Sure, I am in the ring. You know, when they're the pay-per-view fights, all these other fights, whenever they zoom into the corner, I'm working on the fighters. I'm prime location. You know, so
Yeah.
as you look at the fights, right? I'm always, you know, my back is prime location because I'm working on your face, right? And the cameras are zooming in, and especially if fighters get cut. So yeah, so I'm there, and I'm there. So, and that's why, you know, I told first time I worked with Tyson Fury, I said, you know, Tyson, I work with sponsors. Do you mind if I make an outfit, my cornerman jacket, the same color coordination as your team outfits, and then put my sponsors? He puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, Stitch, you can do whatever you want, just as long as there's no alcohol, gambling, or firearms. And so.
There went half of your sponsors.
Yeah. Well, I used to, in the UFC, I used to have a place in Vegas called the Gun Store, where you'd go over there and you rent and you shoot and all that. But then when they went into, I think it was Fox didn't allow firearms, drugs, or gambling, and I had to get rid of it.
Yeah, I remember the whole thing with Foxes. Whenever I watch a fight, go back and watch a fight, is they always beep out or like the swearing, which I just think is so funny considering it's two guys going in there beating the continuous shit out of each other for 15, 25 minutes, and then it's they can't say the F word right after it. I always find that very funny.
Yeah, I remember Joe Rogan slipped up saying shit, and then like the dead silence pause afterwards, like, oops. Like, but like at the same time, like you could have lads that get knocked out, like have massive cuts on their faces. Like if you've ever seen a Nate Diaz fight, it gets bloody. So yeah, like you're saying, Thomas, there's no real reason not to curse. They should be hiring sailors to go in there to say all sorts. Yeah,
That's good.
need to get some Irish lads in there. We do a lot of cursing. Yeah, that's stupid rules. Does boxing commentary have something like that?
Do the what?
I said, would boxing commentary have something like that where you can't curse? I've never heard them curse before.
That's a good question, but I don't think, yeah, guys just haven't, and it's not that I don't think, well, especially the pay-per-views, the HBO, the Showtime, those are uncut, so yeah, I've never heard anybody maybe that's why, maybe, they've deleted them because it's like a 7-second button. And so you say shit, they'll take it out.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, again, when you're dealing with two lads beating the shite out of each other,
Yeah.
you should be allowed curse, but whatever. Stitch, what fights are you looking forward to seeing?
Well, I have the Tyson Fury fight this weekend, right? And or next weekend, I should say. But I have, I'm doing every week in October. I'm doing the top ranked fights, and so I don't even know who's fighting the week after. But Shakir Stevenson is fighting Jamal Heron, and so I don't know. I just like looking at fights better when I'm working them.
And do any of them have you nervous?
No, those days are done. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose you put in your 10,000 hours. So
I've done my share, man. I've had broken bones. I've had knockouts that have, I've seen them all. I just one of my main things of being a good anybody's thing of being a good cut man is composure.
yeah. Oh, dude, I had something to say, and I just had a massive brain fart there. No, there we go. I really appreciate seeing like how neutral you are when it comes to the fighters coming up. So like, what you said, like Tyson Fury probably has the advantage. You're not saying like this guy's gonna flat out win and murder Deontay Wilder in there.
No, how can I say he's going to win if I don't know? Right? But I'm looking at seeing on what I saw the last time, and what I've seen through the Deontay Wilder fights and what I've seen with Tyson Fury fights. I kind of weigh them out on styles and techniques. And when it comes, I look at it in two ways. If it goes the distance, who's going to fight? Who's going to win? The high probability of it going the distance and Tyson Fury winning, I would say would be that way. When it comes to a knockout, every round I'm going to expect to work on some damage. So that one is still, suspect. It's just like I say, it's that one shot. That's that one thing that I'm always looking for. So yeah, but if it goes the distance, I have no doubt that Tyson Fury would win it, only because he's the better of the two fighters when it comes to boxing, plain and simple. When it comes to who's going to win by knockout, I ain't going to look at that one. I just wait and see what happens.
I completely agree with you there. When you say Tyson's a better fighter, he's proven time and time again that he can come back from adversity. He's what a guy.
When I first met Tyson Fury, because keep in mind he fought Vladimir Klitschko, right?
Yeah, I always think about that with you, man.
I was with Vladimir for 12 years, right? And I think that overconfidence, when you see Tyson Fury, I think the whole team was, oh yeah. And when he got beat, I think everybody was in shock. I'm thinking, wow, what happened? But when I saw Tyson Fury fight Deontay Wilder the first time, I became a fan of his because I saw why Vladimir had such a difficult time fighting him is he couldn't hit him. And his defense, I told Tyson Fury, I said, your defense is like Bruce Lee says, it's like water. It's just very, very fluid, and it's just natural in what he does. So in that aspect, now I know why he beat Vladimir.
This might be a bit of a weird question, but Vladimir has no problem with you cutting for Tyson, does he, at all? Just because I always think about that. I always go back to that fight between them two, and then I see you with Vladimir and you with Tyson.
The Klitschkos, I think we spoke, Thomas, they're dynamite people. They understand that my job is to take care of fighters. And there's many, many, many times where, like in MMA especially, where I'm wrapping your hands and I'm wrapping Gerard's hands and I'm working your corner. My job is to take care of fighters. And my job is to make sure that they have every probability of winning a fight and not getting hurt. So to me, in that aspect, no, not at all. I'm sure that, but when Tyson Fury fights Anthony Joshua, because Vladimir is real good friends with Anthony Joshua now. So we'll see. I'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But they know. I mean, they understand that my job is, and then for me, they should be honored that Tyson Fury chose me to be his cut man under the circumstances of the fight that he had when he got that big cut. And saying, yeah, he was my cut man. He was our cut man. And yeah. So yeah, but that's a good question. And it's surprising nobody's ever asked it, but yeah, I'm sure he has no problems.
Yeah, I think you're a fucking busy man. Like, how many podcasts are you doing, like, a day, a week? I assume a fair few.
I love talking shop, right? To me, it's barbershop talk. Usually the fights that I have, I'll leave on Thursday, Friday, and do the fight Saturday, come home. But Monday through Thursday, I'll go to the gyms, Mayweather gym and Bones Idol gym, and shoot the shit with the guys. And, so I enjoy doing that. But I do a lot of podcasts. And just out of respect to you guys, because when I had my own radio show, like I say, for 10 years, or I partnered up with Nick Ward, I understood the importance of when I'd call guys and they would give you their word and not cheese up, right? But like Emmanuel Stewart, never turned me down. So I understand the importance for you, to have a good show. And so for me, I just like talking because I got stories and I love sharing these stories.
We love hearing them, man. Genuinely.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough for coming on again. Seriously, like it's no idea how much of an honor it is to interview someone like yourself, Stitch, of here.
I'm just a normal guy, man. That, like I said, the guys that are working on my tile, I've been blessed to do the things that I'm doing, and to this point, my biggest honor is that I've never asked for a job. They've always come. I'm just too proud. I can't kiss nobody's ass, and so I've been blessed. I got called. They asked me if I was available in 2022 for Creed 3. And I said, yes, of course, and so I'm looking forward to that and other things coming up the pipeline.
Well, man, I'm looking forward to it too. And again, thanks, man, for getting on. It's great fun every time we have you on. There's normally some good chats and some good stories. We'll have to do it again. So, Stitch, if people want to check you out, where can they find you?
Well, I'm at Stitch Duran, but I always encourage everybody, especially fighters and trainers, to go to Cutman for hire supplies. They got the best equipment, and Juan Ramirez is, we're not partners. Is what happened is I had my own line of tape and my end swell, the KO swell, and things that I use, the wrist strap, so you don't put the swabs in your mouth. So those things I sold, and through a dream, I couldn't do it because I was always traveling, and you'd get your order late. So through a dream, I called him and said, look, man, I had a dream. Would you be interested in carrying my stuff? So I support him, but everything's him. But yeah, at Stitch Duran, and I always return phone calls or messages and all that. So if you got any questions, give me a call, or have them go through you and then you send it to me.
There you go. Well, we've never had someone say that you can call them. So there you go. If you want to call Stitch, you know what to do. Watch your phone blow up overnight. So yeah, it's been great fun, but we're just going to take a moment now to say thank you to our patrons. These are sound lads. Here we go. And if you want access to early episodes, this will be a Patreon early access episode as well. You support us on Patreon. We're cheap enough. We're sound. We've new content. If I can speak English. We've new content coming out all the time. You even get to chat to ourselves. Thomas he's a great lad when he gets a drink into him. So you can't be missing out on that. So if you want to support us, first of all, like, comment, subscribe. But if you want to be really sound, you want to fish into the wallet, pull out a fiver, you can find us on Patreon. Now, have a good one, take it handy, and bye-bye.